Welcome back to the Dirt Path podcast. Things look a little bit different today. We're doing a little bit of a different format. So you might recognize Paige. She was on episode 2. And yeah, today we're going to be doing a little bit different than the typical interview format that we've typically been doing. Because while we're both trailblazers, we both have been on the actual pod and the interview. Again, Paige was on episode 2 and myself on episode 4. We're really also just trying to figure it out on the Dirt Path. Constantly, while you're a nomad, I think, while we've been doing it for almost 5 years, trailblazers in some senses, very much just always constantly trying to figure it out. As well as with our entrepreneur journey, you're a year into yours, right, Paige? And I'm launching mine today. So yeah, we're really just trying to figure it out. And I think we want to come on here and just share real stories and real life updates of what it's like actively on the Dirt Path. So thanks for coming on today, Paige.
Yeah, I think it's a cool combination because we're very much trailblazers. Like, I believe there's a lot of paths that we've both pioneered in different spaces. So to have opinions and shares from that point of view, but also on the Dirt Path, I feel you're always a little bit lost. And so it's also shedding light of the realities of not being on the highway too, in real time, where we are, different locations, different places. And I think just updates in our travels for us to be able to look back on, but also for people to learn from us of like where we are, what we've experienced, and the realities too, of like building a business while traveling, or the highs and lows of nomading, like in real time from us.
Yeah, and we'll still be doing the interviews. That'll be the bulk of the podcast, and we might be doing these more regular. We'll see how people like it and everything. But in the interviews, we kind of boil somebody's whole Dirt Path journey into 1 hour. But it's so much more than that. Every week, basically, there's a new something else that we're dealing with, especially because we're also we're doing both. We're kind of doing 2 in 1. So yeah, I'm excited to get into it today. We have some very exciting things. So at the end, I'll be talking about I talked about it on my episode, but for those who didn't hear, I was kind of at my dream job that I created. I was nomading first as electrical engineer, convinced that company to let me create a whole new role, and was told that role was going to be ending, almost about 6 months ago now, which is crazy. Time flies. And they wanted me to return to engineering. It was a long and hard decision. I decided, no, I'm going to take the leap and try to build something on my own, and first launched the podcast to try to help myself think about what to build, what would come up next. And slowly the idea started to come. And so at the end of the podcast, I'll be unveiling the new business, what I'm doing, and then as well as kind of give some value based around that. But first wanted to kind of start off with, we're here in Asia. They're coming up on our second month here in Asia. Thailand the whole time, but we've done 2 different locations, Chiang Mai, now Koh Phangan. And this is Paige's first time in Asia. So when I was an electrical engineer, I did a 5-month stint throughout Asia. But at the end, as I, moved higher up in engineering and then eventually changed roles to the HR side, time zones just became more difficult to really go that far. And I didn't want to do the other 9 to 5, the 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. like some people do when they come to Asia if you're from the U.S.
It's intense.
Yeah, it's a lot. And for me, the second the sun goes down, I'm a zombie. So I really can't do it. And then for Paige, when we met, you just left your corporate job. And with that one, it was more hours restricted. And then you met me. So now you had this freedom. But then you met me and I was still kind of restricted. And so when everything happened with the job, it was like, we had different plans, maybe go back to Cape Town or go South America. But it was like, oh, well, now we have ultimate freedom right now. Like, you've wanted to go to Asia for a while. I've wanted to get back. And so we decided to come back.
Yeah. I was supposed to go to Bali in 2020. I was studying abroad in Australia, and we had a trip booked to New Zealand and a trip pretty much booked to Bali. And both were canceled because of COVID. And so I truly believe studying abroad in Australia gave me this like spark for travel. But I do feel you end up going to Bali when you're supposed to. And at that point, I liked yoga, but I was not nearly as deep into the spiritual world of interest like I am now. So I think you always end up in a certain location when you're supposed to, which I very much felt when I was in Chiang Mai. When we were in Chiang Mai, lots of different monasteries and ways to get deeper into spiritual modalities in a location where naturally the energy is just different than other parts as well. And now being
any first impressions when you first got to Asia?
Yeah, so it's just very different. For me, I'm very sensitive to stimulus, and especially going further on my yoga path, like I noticed Asia just you're bombarded with different senses from everything. So we were on the bike. So I wasn't driving the bike, Grayson was.
The scooter.
But even when I would call one and I'd be on it myself, you don't realize when you're in a car how less of your senses are just not being used, because you can't necessarily hear because you have, doors. And you can't smell because you have doors. But then you're on a bike and every sense is like stimulated. And so I found actually 1 week of being there, I felt very overstimulated. And travel, any new stimulus, anything that's new and novel is like triggered in your body as stress. So I did really struggle that first week of like, whoa, there's a lot of smells, there's a lot of sounds, and your body's just getting used to what is the new normal for it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even walking around, we were in a neighborhood that wasn't like the busiest neighborhood in Chiang Mai by any means. It was a little bit more green, but you can never get away from the bikes, and that's always loud. And then just walking around, you walk by different restaurants and different things, and definitely some very strong smells from restaurants or just the sewers or whatever.
Durian.
Oh yes, famous durian. But yeah, lots of different things. Also, just the tastes I feel like are so in your face. I mean, Asia has such bombastic flavors, which I love a lot of them, but it is just a lot to the senses.
Yeah, and even trying new foods, like it's exciting, but also that changes so much of your body's natural state if you're used to eating like certain ingredients and stuff like that. But then you're in a place where you want to try everything. What else? Just a different pace of life. Like so far, Thai locals have been like the kindest, most warm locals I've probably met anywhere. South Africa's pretty up there, but it's a different type of energy that Thai locals have. Yeah, just very, very warm. And I'm curious because people say that the Balinese culture is similar. So I'm interested to kind of compare like Balinese to Thai and my experiences in both places.
Yeah, I think the Thai people, especially in Chiang Mai, Koh Phangan is a bit different. It's kind of, especially like where we are, it's very, very touristy and more expat central. But Chiang Mai really maintains the Thai culture. And I think it was also really important that was kind of your first spot so you could get more of the vibe of Asia, because I don't think, in a lot of ways you necessarily get that here. But the Thai people, especially in Chiang Mai, are, I just think, like super, super respectful. Like they just treat everybody with respect, especially tourists. They really value tourists coming. It's how they make a lot of their money over there, and they really want you to enjoy and have a good time and come back, and they just treat you with just the utmost respect. And I think it really translates. When you're in Chiang Mai, I feel like there's less of the things that you might see in other like big touristy places with
like
people.
What?
Just people like drinking a lot, right? Getting really
Mm.
rowdy, stuff like that. Like I know we went to like the big Sunday night market in Chiang Mai, and they actually like don't let you drink at that market and smoke and stuff like that. And um, not to say that there's not people that probably got drunk before and are there and kind of being a bit of a mess, but it's not nearly as what it would be in other places. I think if they allowed that, like it's actually a pretty, it's chaotic because there's so many people and the senses are really overloaded at the night market. But at the same time, I think people are quite respectful, and there's not that drinking to really, maybe bring the craziness and stuff out. But
Yeah, and I think what would be interesting is you've been to more cities than I have. So, like, what makes Chiang Mai different? Like, why do we choose to go there? And, like, explaining, like, what makes Chiang Mai different than other cities? Maybe someone's listening from, like, I don't know, Boston or Denver. Like, is it similar to those cities? Or, like, how is it different? How would you explain the differences?
Well, I'm not the expert on Thai cities and everything like that. I've been to a few spots now. But I don't know, it's a big city. It's on the mountains, but I think they're just very in the culture there. It's not the same hustle and bustle. It doesn't necessarily feel like a city, like a big city, like a Bangkok. Bangkok is kind of, the New York, like all the big, really tall buildings, all those vibes. Or Chiang Mai is a bit at that secondary level. It's a bit more spread out. I just think you can get into the culture a lot more. Like at every corner, there's a coffee shop, there's a massage parlor, and there's a temple. That is Chiang Mai.
Yeah. And it's such a big digital nomad hub. And so I get asked a lot. I love posting photos of my travels on Instagram or on LinkedIn. And people are like, how did you even, one, find this place, and two, decide to go? Because for a lot of people, like, we're in our little nomad bubbles, so we know what locations. But yeah, I think like knowing where nomad hubs are is important so that you can kind of integrate into a community. Like there's that local vibe, but also there's nomads there. And that's something I get asked a lot of, like, how did you choose this spot? Why there? And yeah, I guess like anything that you would share of like how you come about places that you have like a desire to go to.
I think it ebbs and flows. And when you start nomading for a long time, it's different than when you first start out. When you first start out, it's like, I want to experience culture. I want to experience life, food, beaches, whatever it is at the top of your list, like you want to go experience. And that's just going to overtake other stuff.
Yeah.
For us, I mean, it's a couple months. In a couple months, it'll be 5 years for me nomading. You're about there as well. And so it's a little bit different. I mean, when we were thinking about Asia, you're a big beach person. So, okay, a lot of the places we're going, like here, we're right at the beach. We're be able to be there every day. But I think the reason we changed my first, the biggest reason for us was community. We have our good friends, Chris and Sam. Chris was on the podcast a few episodes back. And, just seeing people again, when you're nomading, you're in a place for 1, 2, 3 months, right? And you're constantly meeting new people, and you can create nice friendships in those places. And then you try to maybe keep up via Instagram or WhatsApp and text. But after a while, to me, that's just become draining. I've just really started, now that I've worked remote for over 5 years, I've nomaded for over 5 years. I mean, all of how I communicate really is via digitally. It's FaceTime, or it's Zoom calls at work, it's FaceTime with friends and family. And so I really crave that in person. And the people that we were really closest with really wanted to continue to build those relationships and see them in person, because otherwise I'm just so bad at keeping up with people. So that was, I think, a big reason for us going to Chiang Mai, was to keep up with friends, as well as, like you said, it's a place with a big nomad community. There's lots to like about Chiang Mai. It's a beautiful city. It's amazing food. We're not as much city people, but we can, I think, especially towards the end, more found our flow, and like, again, weren't in like the hustle and bustle part of it. But that was a little bit of how we kind of came across and started the Asia venture in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, I want to talk about your point about not burnout, but like technology disinterest because we're building online businesses. We're building, especially with me on LinkedIn, an online community and following of people that you're holding space for with coaching or messages. And so sometimes to then have online connections as well, it's like a lot of online time. And it's funny because I've been feeling this year in particular, it's going to be very much like the year of going back to the basics of like the companies that invest in in-person stuff as well, like retreats or stuff like this. It's going to be really powerful because people are craving being off grid, disconnecting for a little bit of time. And it's funny because yesterday I actually saw Gary Vee posted like disconnecting will be like the thing this year, like a little bit. Like if you can add that in, and that's what I'm craving. Like I always say, if I wasn't helping people build online personal brands, I would be off grid. But the power of a personal brand, I think, or online companies is if you create this personal brand, then you have leverage to then have more freedom and be off grid. So it's kind of counterproductive in a way of like right now it might feel like we're on tech more. But with this presence, then you can kind of be offline more. So it's this interesting back and forth of like, we are creating freedom, but it's being mindful of also logging off. Yeah, that balance.
Yeah, over the last couple of years, I've just slowly gotten off a lot of social medias. I got off Instagram, tried to get off my phone more and more. Definitely not the best at it sometimes. And when I, left the company and decided, okay, I want to take this time and build something for myself. I think one of the things I'm more proud of is in that moment, I said, okay, the one thing I don't want to do is just start scrolling on my phone. Because that's like, I can get very addicted to that. I can catch myself also, and it's hours and hours later. I've wasted like a whole day of just scrolling on random stuff that doesn't bring me up. It brings me down.
Yeah.
So if I started to scroll on something, I just started to delete apps until like there was nothing basically I can scroll. And again, sometimes I'll download something and definitely not perfect, but have gotten, I think, a lot better at it. And now that I'm starting the podcast, so we post the clips on Instagram and all these different socials. I'm with the new business. I'm posting a lot on LinkedIn.
Smart, very smart.
Thank you. And it's an online business, like you said.
Yeah.
But really trying to be intentional about, trying to get off my phone. And then when I do lock in, it's like, okay, I'm going to try to get everything on my computer. Like for the podcast, for example, I've been doing everything on the computer. I still haven't downloaded the apps. I have to download Instagram once a week to do the stories of the guests. And then I delete it. For YouTube, I have to download once a week to kind of fix thumbnails and do some stuff with posting the clips. And then I delete it. And that's been good for me because, again, I'm just craving more of that disconnection. But it is a balance. And I'm interested to see as I get more into the business, more into LinkedIn and trying to keep up with people and then having clients.
Yes.
How that's going to change. But that is a big part of how I'm thinking or will be trying to go about it.
I think it's interesting what you said of like, once you left, then you had this realization of like, I don't want to be on my phone. So do you feel like since you left, there's certain things that you're now more aware of like, this feels really good, this doesn't feel good, and just more awareness of like how you're protecting your energy, what gives you energy, and more just like freedom of choice of your day to day?
That whole topic has been something I think, like what I've kind of been obsessing about. What is bringing my energy up versus what is bringing it down. And I was always interested in this, with a 9 to 5 and different things. Obviously, like you start to do things and you notice it brings you down. But I think for me, there was less impetus to change. Like I was so comfortable in the job, and you could go, you don't necessarily have to continually push yourself and everything in the 9 to 5. Where now starting my own business, like it is, I haven't made a single dollar yet. It's all on me to if I make money or not. And so if I have, a bad day at a 9 to 5, it's like, okay, I have a bad day. I can pick it up tomorrow. Like as long as I still got my big deliverables and stuff out, maybe it's going to be okay.
You have more wiggle room.
More wiggle room, more leeway. It's not necessarily all on you. But switching now into entrepreneurship, I mean, if I have a bad day, that means that I don't get paid, or this doesn't get out, or it just pushes everything out because I have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been something I'm really obsessing about. And lately coming into Copenhagen, trying to build like basically the ultimate routine for me hunkering down and trying to build. What can I really remove that's taking away energy or putting me in a bad mood? And what can I take more in that's putting me, giving me energy and putting me in a good mood?
And what are these?
Well, for me, a good routine. So when we were in Chiang Mai, we were more in travel mode. My dad visited the last half of the month, which was a lot of fun. So we did a lot of the Chiang Mai touristy stuff and travel stuff, which is a lot of fun. But I knew like, okay, I want to start moving on this business. I've got my idea and I just need to start moving on it. And so coming here, and then we decided to extend. So it's a 60-day stay. So that immediately, I think, calms you. So you're not thinking about like, oh, I have to change my routine already.
Yeah, which is important to note. Like, that's why we chose to extend here. Because right when we got here, I was like, wow, to move again in 1 month, it's just quite like disruptive. It's hard to get into a flow. So that is some good advice as well. Like, okay, extend a little bit, which is hard because there's so many different places we wanted to see while we're over here now. But at the same time, it's like, you can always come back.
Well, we came here to explore Asia, but at the same time, we're building businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, like a month is fast travel right now for us. Just with how we've been doing it. We haven't done a month in a long time. And especially with where we are in the businesses, it didn't make sense. So I was like, okay, let's extend. But to me, it's trying to get into the routine right away. So at a 9 to 5, it was easier to get into a routine because like, okay, these are the hours I have to work. I have to work 40 hours a week. And I was always really good about that. But now coming into an entrepreneur, I have to kind of learn that again. So again, in Chiang Mai, first couple of weeks, it was before my dad got there. I was doing stuff with the podcast, but wasn't consistent with where I was working from and not. And because it was kind of this weird split of we have 2 weeks and my dad's coming in and then we're traveling. I just never quite got into it. So coming here, it's okay, let's get into the routine. So find a nice gym, join that for a month. The gym has a cold plunge, so I'm doing that every day. We got really lucky with the co-working space here. It is literally on the beach.
Is it luck though?
Who knows? No, there's a couple here, but we did try to plan to be like in this area to be able to walk to it. But it's very basic in terms of what it has. It's just it's nicer chairs, not the best, just like kind of tables and stuff like this. But you're on the beach, like looking at the ocean the whole time, sea breeze.
I don't join coworks, and I joined this cowork, which means it's outside. That's what it means. It means it's also it has beds you can work from, and it has beanbag chairs. Mm-hmm. So this is like co-work Paige approved, very much so. Yeah,
I always do co-works when I travel. It's just, I love that separation of space. Even if it's not the best spot, I'm like, okay, it's better than at home. Paige typically enjoys more like cafes.
Well, if I go into the co-work, I immediately can tell if I'm going to like the vibe or not. And if it's anything too worky vibes, it's going to be a no because I can't get creative. This one felt different because you can literally go swim and come back. It's very different.
Yeah, half the people are with their shirts off, while they work. Paige is in her bikini and then just goes and does a swim and comes back to work on the beanbag.
Yes, well, that's when when you're commuting to your co-work and you're in your bathing suit. It's just like, wow, this is what I've manifested.
Life is a little bit different like it.
Yeah. Well, it's good because it's like finding the environments that you work best in. And I was actually thinking, watching everyone work from the co-work, it's like, wow, we've been conditioned so much to think that, like, in a way, like travel or working like this is like rebellious in some way. I'm like looking at everyone like, wow. But at the same time, what's so wrong about just working in environments that you've got yourself to and you feel more creative and you feel more productive? Like, that should be celebrated more rather than like, wow, these crazy lost travelers. It's like, wow, no, they're making it work and they're just in a different environment than what's typical, Yeah.
From the outside, I can see you got all these people like shirts off, feet in the sand, taking calls.
Yeah, it's amazing. What's wrong with it?
But it's not always perfect. The other day I was taking a call and there's like a spot where people take calls and it's actually in the sand. So I was taking a call, standing up, shirt off, literally looking at the ocean. There's these guys that were like kind of laughing, looking at me like, oh, yeah. As I was on the call because I just thought it was funny. Meanwhile, I look down and like my foot is on an ant pile and it's just swarming with fire ants. So I got to hurry up and get up the call and go. So luckily it wasn't a business super formal call, but it's not always perfect.
That's a nice comparison of like nomad life. Like, oh, okay, I'm taking a call, shirtless, and my feet are being eaten by fire ants. That's like how it can be. Something can be so good while also really challenging at the same time. Yeah, I like that analogy.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, I mean, the co-work has been amazing to continually give energy. I mean, just looking at the beach, going for a swim, doing like a sunset walk. We always try to do that along the beach.
So something that I've done since being here is swim every day. Swim every day and see every sunset. And then everything can kind of flow around that. But that has been like my essentials.
Yeah. And the other part of us being here, so if anybody's been to Southeast Asia, Thailand, if you've been to Copenhagen, you know that.
I know what you're going to say.
Scooters.
Oh, no. Okay.
Okay. Scooters are the thing. Like everybody rents a scooter, whether you can drive it or not. A lot of people here have no.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. A lot of people here have no clue how to drive.
But they have a scooter.
Yes. And mostly tourists, I'm calling out. But we don't. We chose a spot. We love walking. Like that's one of the things when you start to nomad and you live in different places, you really start to experience life in different locations, cultures, all that stuff. And you start to really see what's important to you. And to me, walking in my routine, I love it. Like if I can, when I walk to the gym, when I walk to the co-work, when I walk to the lunch spot, walk home, like I'm getting 8,000 steps just in my routine. Then I don't have to do extra walks and it feels natural. I'm not in a car. I'm not in traffic.
Right.
I don't have to, swerve around people who have no idea how to drive or where I'm going to get hit by them. Although walking isn't much better. You still have to be careful about it here. But yeah, we basically chose a spot where we get to walk to all of it, the gym, the co-work, lunch spots, dinner, everything. And we finally, last weekend, right, rented the scooter for the first time, got out a bit, but otherwise we've been very much kind of in a bubble here. But, it's a different purpose. And we really have not explored Copenhagen at all. And so again, this is not the advice I give to a new nomad that is more in explore mode, but for us, we're trying to do stuff with the business, or at least me, I'm really trying to launch. You're doing stuff with the business. You're also doing stuff. It's a very spiritual space here. You're trying to connect with people, doing a lot of different experiences. So I think that's really important is your priorities are always going to be changing, making sure you take a step back to be intentional and align with your actions with your priorities.
Yes. Intentional. I think like stuff ebbs and flows too. Like you'll have a couple months where it's like, wow, I just want to like travel and be, or like, oh, I want to focus and I want to grind. And this location is quite cool because I think you can tap into both. And so I feel like I can go do an authentic relating circle, ecstatic dance, yoga, and you're working, and that's fine. And I think environments where we can also do different things is cool to see like what serves both of us in certain ways.
Yeah, and I just think it's important of thinking about those parties. Like you said, they will change. And it's very easy in this life to get stuck. This life has possibilities to be incredibly intentional with, as your priorities change, you can align it perfectly. Yeah, it's not always going to happen like that. You're going to have some things come up that you have to do. But very quickly on the other side, what is the hard part is you can all of a sudden look up and after 3 months, you're doing something that's completely misaligned with your priorities. And so you really do have to kind of check in and be cognizant of that because, it is very tempting not to explore all of the time or whatever that is.
And I think it's also knowing what phase you're at and then putting yourself in environments where you'll meet similar people. And you asked my opinion on Asia. And I was talking to some friends and I was saying it has a very like lost soul energy here in a way, Southeast Asia, which is beautiful. It's very much a place people come in transitional periods or they're on sabbatical or they're backpacking or, they're this free spirit, like figuring things out or just living and being and experiencing. And so when you're here with a bit more clarity of like, this is my vision and goal, like you have to really stick to that. Especially myself as like a free spirit, I'm very much a product of where I am. So if I'm in a place with others who are super clear and intentional about entrepreneurship or nomading at this time, whereas you put me in an environment like this, if I go to too many events with the not wrong type of person, but someone who's in a different stage of where I am, you can easily kind of like flow into what they're doing of like, oh, they're going to 3 different yoga classes a day. And then they go to a singing circle and then they go to this conscious swimming circle, like, which is beautiful, but it's like, is that the phase that you're in? Or do you go to more co-working events? Do you join a co-work? Do you go to more networking meetups because that's the phase you're in? So I think it's really important what you're seeking because also maybe you come here and you're like, I don't want to do any co-working events. I just want to go tap into like discovering who I am on a deeper level. And that's actually my priority. So thinking about what events you're going to is going to change who you meet and then like the circles and the energies that you're around, which will impact your outputs too.
Yeah, but it's a nice part about going to a Chiang Mai, going to a Copenhagen. Both of these are big nomad hubs. So, for me, again, like I'm trying to really lock in with work and it's nice to be able to, if I need a break, I'm right there for a beach swim. I'm right there for a sunset walk. Or, if I want to meet people, again, I haven't been the best about that. I did one co-working event the other day that Paige kind of nudged me to do. But there are those events happening all the time.
Yeah.
Like there's a cool WhatsApp chat that's like, this is all the 30 events going on from yoga to sound healing to
it's
connecting.
so amazing.
And so you can kind of just say, oh, I have a little bit of more time today, or, oh, I should do that. And it's right there. So you kind of have no excuse to not, do one of those. Like if you come here and you don't meet people, it's kind of on you.
Yes.
In my opinion, especially if you're solo and then that's what you're looking for.
Yes. And that's what I told you the other day. That's quite confronting about locations because sometimes you're in your hometown. And for me, it's like, oh, you can almost make excuses for yourself easier of like, oh, well, there's barely any yoga studios I like. So that's why I haven't been consistent with my meditations because there's no yoga studio. So it's like easier. Or like, I haven't met that many close friends, but like because I'm in this city, my people aren't here. So it's okay. But being here in a way, I almost feel it's quite confronting to things that you actually are in control of. Like there's always some sort of movement to class to do. You can go to yoga, you can do a workout. And so when you don't do that, it's like, oh, this is actually me. Or I haven't met people, or like I feel disconnected, I haven't met people. It's like, it's also on me.
Kind of calls you out.
It calls you out when you're in a place where it has all these, which allows you to really see yourself. And it's like that quote, it's also a book. It's like, wherever you go, there you are.
I thought you were about to go Taylor Swift, like, is it me?
No. Well, I don't. I like Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie.
Okay.
As you know. Not that there's anything wrong with that. No, wherever you go, there you are. Which, it's a meditation book, but basically saying like, you can try to escape your habits or something, but wherever you end up going, it's you. It's really deep.
Very deep.
What does that mean to you?
To me, it's empowering. Like I see it the other way of like, you know, there is no excuses. You get to shape your reality. And that can be in one sense for people really, really scary. But to me, it's empowering because you're in control. You know, at least if you focus on what you can control. There's a lot of stuff you can't control. And I think, you know, a lot of people maybe get lost on that. But if you're focusing only on what you can control, I think, you know, we're surprised about what we can achieve. So I want to talk a little bit, you know, I want to get to some stuff with the launch and everything, but anything else before we pivot to that with Asia, with these last 2 months, that kind of comes to mind that maybe you'd want to share about your experience?
We saw elephants. That came to mind.
Big thing on Paige's bucket list.
Yes, we swam with the elephants. That was just so neat. Just also seeing animals in the wild, to me, is really, you can learn so much by just observing them. I've been practicing meditation for like a year now, and I'm also at this point where I'm naturally more interested in like somatics, so movement. And for me, I learn a lot about what we're not doing as humans from looking at animals. And elephants, or any animals, it's like how they naturally are in their habitat and how humans are really supposed to emulate that, but we don't because of societal norms. For example, like it was cool watching the elephants swim, and then when they're done, they go and roll around in the dirt and dry themselves off and move and like shake. And it just makes you think like, wow, we have so many like rules kind of as humans that we follow. For example, somatics is like shaking. It's like, okay, like I experience stress or experience this, like move your body. And yeah, I got that a lot from looking at different animals. It's like we can learn so much from observing. Even I went to a monastery and I've observed a monk. I posted about this on LinkedIn and I wrote about it actually in one of my newsletters because it was really profound, which was a monk was, can I share this? Okay. Don't want to go on my tangent too long.
Go ahead.
It's quite profound.
We can always cut it.
Oh, good. Okay, so the monk had clay, and instead of the monk adding more clay to make or create something, he was chiseling it. He had like a little knife thing and was chiseling it away to then create this form of something. And I've had a lot of thoughts lately around the power of subtraction rather than addition in our lives, with health, with who you are, with discovering who you are. We always want to add more because society wants us to. Like, buy this and you'll be healthy. Buy this, get this, do this, add this. But actually, when you chisel stuff away, that's the core essence of what something is. And I learned that from the monk in Chiang Mai.
Deep.
So that was another moment. Elephants and monks can learn a lot.
What else do you need?
Then we go to Copenhagen, and it's such a beautiful energy here too, with just the people it attracts. And honestly, the open-mindedness of people here. I'll say one other thing. Friday night, I was swimming in the ocean in Copenhagen, and I also had this thought. As I was observing, there was one gal, which I still haven't figured out what she was doing. She put this metal thing on her ponytail and then hooked it to the tree, went upside down, was like swinging on the tree from her ponytail.
Okay.
Just chilling. And
Just
then
another level of grounding.
I don't know. I'm curious. I'm sure it has some benefit. But I was like, well, wow. How can you allow yourself to just observe without judgment? Like, that's awesome for her. And then I saw other people doing various activities that I had never seen before. And then in my mind, I was like, wow, how interesting that like people go to New York City to like be around people who are like grinding so that they can also grind and climb the corporate ladder or be a most successful business. And then I'm like, and me, I'm intentionally being here to be around
Watching
this
people
tree
tree
lady. But I'm happy about it. I think like I'd rather be around people who are to their soul level fulfilled and happy and finding what makes them happy than like finding what makes everyone else happy. So that's my last piece I'll share about Asia, which is like you meet people who are deeply doing them. And I think that's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I think it's like the furthest place from the US, right? So I think there is a big part of, it's a life transformation in somebody's life. So I'm going to go to Asia and kind of figure myself out or be myself, whatever. There's great people watching here is what I will say. And to each their own, I think.
I love being in environments where I feel the most quote normal because I don't always feel this way. So to me, it can only expand you, get you outside your comfort zone, open up your mind to like, wow, this is how this person's expressing themselves. And isn't that beautiful? And I personally think any judgments that come up is just a reflection of our own deep desires of like, maybe I could care less about what people thought. And I could also dance randomly like that. Well, they seem to have no care in the world. I always think it's like, what does this tell me about myself?
Okay, so make sure you tune in next time to the Dirt Path, and Paige is going to be hanging from a tree. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll find out the benefits.
There we go. I guess we can get to today is when this comes out. Today's launch day for me.
Yes,
a long time coming. When I left the company, I wanted to build something. I had some ideas, but really I had no idea. And that was the scariest part, was the unknown. I've just learned more and more, I've tackled fears over the years. I had a fear of kind of like the depths and deep oceans. And so went scuba diving and fear of heights. So I, rock climbed in Colorado. And I think a lot of it also for me is the fear of the unknown. That's huge. I mean, I'm a big planner. If you heard my episode on episode 4, like I'm a very big planner.
I'm the opposite.
The yin and yang, And but yeah, just the unknown of deciding to leave, but have no idea of what you're going to be going into, and it's been tough. Like there's been. As I started to get more clarity around the idea, one day I'm like, oh, this is going to be epic. Like, and this is going to be the future. And we're going to get back to our goals and even quicker actually before. And then the very next day it's, what am I doing? This is not going to work. Like, I have no idea what this is. This is not clear. Like all of this stuff, all of the self-doubt comes in. And for me, one of the best parts has been the podcast because I'm interviewing people that are steps ahead of me on this journey. And that's really helped ground myself in my expectations of what to expect. Pretty much everybody has said they haven't made any money or they didn't get somewhat comfortable till like a couple years in to the business. Ed, episode 1, famously shared like it was 12 years before like the business like really took off. And so it's helping me ground. Okay, I'm not going to launch today and there's going to be instant success. It's going to be this long grind. Whatever I start, I'm probably going to have to pivot and all of this stuff. And that's helped, I would say, a lot, and just continually getting inspired by people like you, by people that are coming on the podcast. But it's definitely been up and down. I'm curious, what have you seen of me from outside? I mean, you're with me every day, so you get a good vantage point.
Yes. Well, first, the podcast it's so smart to create, because I also think when you create a podcast, it is a business in a way that I feel it's like this way to learn business before you launch a business, in a way that, like, okay, you have to be consistent. You have to figure things out that you don't know. You have to do outreach to get guests. You have to maybe get rejected by people that say no to coming on, or the feeling of asking. Like, it's not sales, but it's also like, will you come on the podcast? That in itself is a new muscle to work. And then too, like, being seen on camera, talking. It's like all of these ways to kind of like, okay, if you can do a podcast, you're also building your network, you're learning. And I really think podcasts are like a win-win-win. A win for the guest, a win for you to learn, and then a win for the listener. So I think, like, first, the dirt path and you creating the dirt path is like a perfect funnel into, okay, what do I want to do? And learning how to build a business. Which I've seen just such a shift in, I'm not an entrepreneur and I'm not creative, to like, you are creative and you are an entrepreneur. And so I think a lot of it's just mindset. Like, okay, you were an engineer and that was your title, but how do you change, unidentified necessarily with these titles? And it's more of like, you can learn anything. Like, you can be a speaker, you can be a creative. So I've seen that of just like your ability to learn and learn really fast. Like, you learn really quick. Even with design and marketing, which was like more my forte, I'm like, I feel like you understand Canva better than me. You're very creative. So yeah, that piece and trusting yourself. For me, when I started my business, it helped me go deeper into my spiritual practice, because it's like, when you leave and then the universe conspires in your favor, it's also like, how do you develop this deeper self-trust and surrender in a way that, like, you're trusting the process because you don't have control. So I think there is a level of deeper self-trust that I've seen in you too on this journey.
Yeah, we were talking about it a while back, and how it kind of came to me is, this feels like going into entrepreneurship, or I think anywhere on the dirt path, it feels like a trust fall with your future self.
Yes.
You're just going like this, hoping the future self is gonna catch you.
Yeah.
And so who knows? This is day one. This is the launch day. Who knows if I'll be caught or not? But yeah, like I said, there's been lots of doubt. There's been lots of clarity, but the one thing that I haven't doubted, and the one thing I've been proud of, is my decision to leave. Again, I'm nothing but grateful to that company. They believed in me. They let me nomad as an electrical engineer. Unheard of, in that industry. It's the most conservative industry in terms of remote work. There's only about 13% of companies, last time I checked, that even allow fully remote roles. They let me completely change my career. Went from engineering to HR. And then to me, this was another golden opportunity. They, said, hey, this is going to end. And I was thinking about doing my own thing for years. But they kind of gave me the nudge that I needed. And so I'm eternally grateful to them. And
yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. So business that I'm launching is called Engineered Flexibility. So I'm actually getting back into the engineering game. Okay. I'm founder and lead flexibility engineer. Because when I was thinking about what to do, I just started the thought of, I'm a very unique case. I became a nomad and a 9-to-5 as an electrical engineer. Again, the most traditional industry out there. worked that with my team, my company. It made it actually even better than when I was before. So in less than my first 3 years, I had 3 substantial raises. I think the lowest was 11%. I had 2 promotions. So it elevated my career, didn't hold me back. I became the poster child at the company for flexible work. So as they were continuing to say, okay, let's continue to lean into remote work. Anytime somebody would even like think of the word travel, they'd mention, oh, we have this guy, traveling the world right now, working remotely. So this can be you too. So I did that all in engineering, proved that it could not only work, be viable, but also like be better than before. I got more productive. I changed how I worked to do all that. And eventually I then took it to the company side. I created a whole new role at the company in HR. And the mission behind that role was to optimize flexibility for each role and responsibility in the company. Because in any company, especially, in an engineering company, you just have so many different roles, and each role has different responsibilities that allow for different, what I call flexibility potential, right? We had some people that were doing a lot more in-person work. Some people had to be a lot more on the similar schedules, like project managers, because they're conversing with internal teams and external clients. So it's all about optimizing it per individual roles. And so I did a lot with that, but the most notable thing that I probably did was our Nomad program. So helping other people like me travel abroad while working remotely. And so most people just use that to extend a vacation. Instead of going somewhere for a week, they could go somewhere for 2 or 3 weeks, vacation for one of it. The other 2 weeks they're working, but they still get to experience the life. A lot for hobbies. I had somebody, I think, go to a month in Costa Rica, go surfing. Some person went to Canada for a couple of months to go snowboarding.
As engineers.
Yep.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so that was really fulfilling, but also proved that, that's kind of my secret sauce, right? Is I've done it as an engineer successfully, became the poster child, then switched to HR, and we had 0 issues after years of doing that program, 0 major issues. And so that's really what I bring to the table. And now I'm helping engineers, go nomad without sacrificing flexibility, or without sacrificing their careers, rather, sorry. Because, a lot of people work really hard to build their careers, especially people like engineering. It's a lot of schooling. It's a lot of hard work, and comes with a really great paycheck and different things, and a very rewarding, though tough job. And so many engineers think it's binary, think they have to, they can have their career or they can have their dream lifestyle. But nowadays it's, even in our very traditional industry, if we're talking about the industry I was formerly in, of engineering utilities, even in that it is starting to change, and slowly, but especially if, we bring on some more change makers, in the industry. So I really focus on fellow engineers, especially those in my industry, because it's just the most hurdles that really, frankly, you have to go over. I know the world the most. Although if you are at a 9-to-5, you're just an employee and you want to go nomad, feel free to reach out. I am offering right now free calls. I just asked you to apply so I ask a few questions around trying to get it. Where is your leverage right now? Where's your company? And, so I'll have an idea before we even hop on the call if I think you'll be able to do this or not, or what your path would be. If I can help you, if I can point you in the right direction to somebody else. So that's engineered flexibility. It's launching today. I'm talking about it here, posting about it on LinkedIn, everywhere else, and I'm excited to start down this dirt path.
Excited, very very exciting.
And I'm not the expert entrepreneur, but I just figured, like, for my launch, why not just give away all my secrets, right? Why not give everything away that I do for free? And I feel like that's probably the best way to be an entrepreneur, right? Is just to give away all of your secrets. No, so this is my general how to nomad with a 9-to-5. Actually, I'll post my personal Instagram in the show notes. And if you want to scroll back, you can actually see I did a series on this on Instagram years ago.
It's funny how it all kind of comes full circle if you look back. Like, oh
right?
wow, I had like a instinct of interest.
For sure. It's very cringy if you do go back. It was actually when I was in Asia last time. Had like blonde highlights and stuff like that. I was finding myself and discovering things. But I did this whole series, and I looked at it right before today, and a lot of it still holds true. I just kind of tweak it in the current plan. But these are kind of like my 5-6 steps into going nomad with a 9-to-5. So the first is you need to make it your top priority. This is a bigger change than you think it's going to be. We talked about the realities of the nomad life. It is not easy. Like any lifestyle, it is not perfect, and it is not easy. And this is going to be a big change for you. So you need to make it your top priority, because you need to start putting all of your energy into this one thing to start moving it forward, or else it's not going to happen. So for me, what I did is, I think I talked about this in my full episode, but basically I wrote myself an email that would hit in a year saying, Grayson, if you're not traveling by now, if you haven't done it, you're going to go travel right now. You're going to put in your 2 weeks notice, right? Nothing is guaranteed in life. You could be hit by a bus tomorrow. Who knows? If you want this, it's a year from now, you still aren't doing it. You're putting your 2 weeks and you're just going no matter what. And that was actually really freeing for me, because okay, I'm going. So I changed my lease, so after a few months, I made it month to month so I could be flexible if any opportunity struck. I was trying to change careers, so I started to look at different companies at the same time. I was trying to make plans of where I would go and how am I going to nomad to make it sustainable. And then things like, how would I make money if I can't find a new company, right? Worst comes to worst. And how could I travel really cheaply, workaways and things like this. And that's eventually when the opportunities didn't come. And because I was prepared, I was able to strike on them, right? And that's what led to my ultimate success of number 2, which is find a company open to it.
Mm-hmm.
Much easier said than done. And this is really probably the main thing that I help people with engineered flexibility. Either it's A or B. A, your current company, right? Or B, you're going to try to find a new company. There's a few things on the company side that you can look for that is going to give you a quick determination. First is the company size. So the bigger the company, the harder this is going to be to do. The bigger the company, if you're at like a 10,000 plus organization, they have lots of bureaucracy. The risk goes higher for them, for the liabilities, all that stuff. The likelihood is just really low. If you're at like a tiny company, lower than 10 people, there's other stuff that comes there too. Not impossible, but it might be tricky there. So probably the sweet spot is between 25 to 200 people. Again, people I've helped out have been at bigger, they've been at smaller. But that's one. The other is, what do they offer right now? So do they have any fully remote positions? Are they hybrid? I would stay away from fully in office, but what most people do, especially if they're going the second route, the find a new company route. Paige knows this because she used to post a lot about remote work, and anybody who posts about remote work gets messages from people or that nomads, like, how do I find a remote job or how do I let me nomad? And there's people that post these job boards of jobs that are fully flexible, jobs that you can nomad with. To be honest, I would stay away from those. And here's why. Being on the other side of that, on the HR side, anytime a company that has a work from anywhere program that's successful posts one of these, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants within a few days. Most people have to close the applications within a few days. It's not a few hours at certain companies because it's just crazy. So instead of playing the lottery at one of these and just cold applying to 20 a day, now one, you can do the LinkedIn method. So you can look at what Paige is doing, build your personal brand to make it really strong. You can intentionally target a couple of dream companies a day and start messaging people at that dream company and slowly build it. So that's one way. If you want to do that route. My big tip though is, don't look at companies that already have the program. Look at companies that allow fully remote roles or that say that they're hybrid, because most have never thought about this. Or if they have, the person who brought it up had no idea what they were talking about. And so it was immediately shut down, never to be revisited again. You can be a change maker. That's how I did it, and multiple other people that I helped. You can do this at a new company, and you can do this in the interviews. You can negotiate going nomad, especially if you hold the right cards, which is number 3, is to build your leverage. So when you're eventually going to talk to your current company or future company, think about it like you're playing poker or something like this, right? And you have a deck of cards, or you have your hand of cards. Well, before you want to play, you want to get out better cards to go to the table with, right? Depending on, because you don't know what they have, so you want to get the best cards you have available. So if you heard my episode on episode 4, I talked about 3 ways to build leverage. I just mentioned one, that's LinkedIn, especially if you're trying to go to another company. Can help you at your current company, but more so if you're trying to go to another company. The biggest, though, is to just be good at your job, to be desirable. Your current company wouldn't want to lose you. You're an A player. You have lots of years of experience. You have niche knowledge. Companies will do more than you think to keep A players or to get A players. And then the other one that people forget that I think is more powerful than people think is to build connection. So at the very least, be building really good connection with your boss and your team, because they're ultimately going to have to deal with some of this. And so if you don't have any connection with them, if they don't like you, if you don't like them, it's probably not going to work. They're probably just going to say no. They don't want to deal with the hassle. Where if you have connection with them, they're going to go out of their way to vouch for you when you go to chat with HR. They're going to be on your side because you built that connection. They want to see you succeed. They're your friend by now. And so whatever your leverage is right now, wherever your cards are right now, if you're a B player, become an A player. If you don't have connection built, build connection. If you're looking for a new company, start building your LinkedIn. Number 4 is to preemptively remove worries. So basically you want to try to see the cards that they have before they show. Mm-hmm. What are they going to be asking about? What are they going to be worried about on the company side? Yep. Now, I can tell you it comes in a few categories. The biggest is tax liability, a little bit with legal liability, a little bit with cybersecurity, and then the other big ones are productivity and time zones. These are really the questions that any boss or company is going to say of why they would automatically say no, because the automatic answer you're gonna get if you just ask the question is no, because of these things. Like when you think about it, it sounds like a hassle. It sounds like a logistics nightmare. You don't want to deal with it, so you say no. So you preemptively do your research on each one of these of how you're going to travel to make sure taxes, you're not a tax liability for them, what you're going to do to make sure your productivity doesn't dip, it increases. All these things, you're going to preemptively make your plan. So when you go to that table, you know what the cards they're going to pull. So when they pull that card, actually, I have this card to block it, Mm-hmm. So that's huge. And the people I work with, we actually create like a nomad agreement. So I give this to my company before they ever ask for it, which is these are the things that I'm going to agree to. Again, they never asked for it. I preemptively gave it to them. It's customizable for everybody's situation in the company. But again, you're getting ahead of whatever they could say of why, they could say no. You're just going to get ahead of that. Okay. Number 5 is a test run. So maybe now you've asked them. Maybe they said yes, but, and they're on the fence. Mm-hmm. A test run is a great way to prove to both of you that this can work. So what I did is I went to Mexico for a week, turned it into 2, long story. But basically the idea was we're going to go down here and make sure it works, right? I got a portable monitor. I got all these different things to work while traveling all the time. Testing that setup, testing, just being in another country and kind of figuring things out, quelling any fears that they might have. Really key part of this is not your time to go to another country or go to a place and party. This is your time to prove it. So when I went to Mexico, I actually did overtime, even though it was kind of like I'm supposed to be traveling all of this stuff, because again, this is your test run. So you want to show them you're not going to be less productive, you're going to be more productive. This is going to be a win-win. If you don't want to spend the money, go to another country, go to a friend's house. So they won't let you do that, go to a friend's house. right? If they only want you to work from home, say, hey, what if I just go to a friend's house? What if I want to visit family for a couple of weeks? A lot of different options for the test run, but it accomplishes basically you're showing them that you don't just have to be at your house or the office. You can do it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
The last one, so now that they've said yes, maybe you did the test run, you continually iterate, because after they say yes, your job is only beginning. Especially if you want to nomad full time for a year, an extended period of time, a couple of years. Getting them to say that initial yes it's not pat yourself on the back, job well done.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a lot of extra work to do. So I had a biweekly one-on-one with my boss, for example, and at the beginning of every one-on-one, I would say, how are things going? Or we'd talk about, before the start of nomading, because I had a 6-month runway, it was, okay, what about this? We're going to do this for the plan, because I was actually planning to nomad with not working on the same hours. I was changing my hours, which comes with a whole another set of things to think about. And then after I started nomading, would go to him and, okay, how are things going? Have you heard anything from the team? Like, have you heard anything from everybody? And in fact, I was so proactive. I'd be telling him like, hey, I noticed this and this is what I'm going to do about it. And he'd come into the call like, oh, I had no idea, but okay, that sounds good. And so again, going back to the very number one, making it your top priority. When it's your top priority, all of these things you're going to think on and obsess about more than anybody else. And you're going to show them and really, again, quell any fears that they might have of this. If you're going into this saying, I'm not going to be a burden, this is going to be a win-win. And at every, checkpoint, you're showing up and you're doing that. They're gonna say yes, and this is how you're gonna get everything over the line. And so that's kind of my playbook for how to nomad with a 9-to-5. Please, I cannot help every 9-to-5er that wants to nomad out there. Try it yourself out. Email me, ask me questions. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you feel like you want to go down this journey. I'm willing to help out, try to help where I can with as many people. Definitely take advantage of the free call if you want to. Like I said, I just ask people to apply, focusing on mostly engineers. Mm-hmm. Like I said, but really for any 9-to-5er, it's the same process. Engineers in certain industries are a little bit harder than others. But you can definitely do this on your own. It's a lot of work, right? I just laid out a lot of things. I laid out the general, but there's a lot more of deep research you should do. But you can definitely do it on your own. So I encourage people to do it, to pursue the dream life, and you don't have to sacrifice your career. I'm here to tell you, I'm here to prove it, and I'm starting with the hardest industry out there. So I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah, so much value there. And I think anyone listening, it sounds simple because you've been able to go through the whole experience yourself. And now you've had time to put it into steps for it to be more tactical for people listening. But at the same time, there's so much more depth beyond just these 5 steps too. So I think that's the power of working with someone who has gone through it and who already knows the fears that will likely come up to address and to bring to the table before they even happen. And like you said, making it a win for the person who wants to go have a more flexible lifestyle, but then also the company. Maybe they don't even know it's something that they need, but how it's actually a differentiator for employees and for the company culture in general too. So yeah, it's very exciting. I'm excited for the journey of what's to come for you.
Thank you. Who knows what it's gonna entail? It's a dirt path. It's dark. I have no idea. I can't see forward. But I'm excited to try my best. If you're out there, what I would say the signs to look for is if the voice in the back of your head is only getting louder that you want to do this. If you feel like you can't do both, if you can't, have your career and do this lifestyle. And again, there are careers you cannot do this. You should be able to do this job, obviously fully remote. Maybe there's some in-person time, but something you could work around. And you want that, you don't want to lose the professional side. You like the job, you like that stable income, whatever it is for you. you can definitely do it, and it never hurts to ask.
Exactly. You never know until you ask, especially if you work with someone who knows how to get the yes. Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for sharing this. And yeah, anyone listening, go book that call. Who knows how long you'll have just free discovery calls open, ton of value in there too. So seize the opportunity. And yeah, thanks for having me on today.
Yep. Thanks, Paige. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Dirt Path podcast. You can find any links to support or follow today's Trailblazer in the description below. If you got this far and really liked today's episode, it would mean a lot if you could give us a 5 stars wherever you found this podcast, subscribe and like on YouTube, and email us. Email us at thedirtpathpodcast@gmail.com to give us feedback, to give us an update of you on your own dirt path, or to send us questions, as we might be doing some Q&A episodes in the future. All right. We'll see you next time here on the Dirt Path.
Saw the exit sign flash by, a whisper in the breeze said, take a chance, don't wonder why, just follow where it leads. Oh, the dirt path, it ain't easy, no map to guide the way. Slow and hard, sometimes uneasy, you stumble through the clay. No signs to tell you where you're bound, no traffic to obey. But every step on broken ground builds something great someday.